Are we waiting on something funny before we roll the credits? Or we'll just do the credits?
It's your episode anyway. You probably won't say anything funny, so let's just go straight into the credits.
Okay, fine, whatever. Fuck you. Okay. Then welcome to All Bronze No Brains. My name is Dave. This is our resident buffster,
Reese Witherspoon.
Reese without her spoon. Welcome to All Bronze No Brains. This is episode number 28 of All Bronze No Brains. Today we're going to be looking at an episode of, what do you call a TV show?
Sex and the City.
Honey, they don't call it a job for nothing.
Sex and the City, yeah. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We're on season 2, episode 26, and the title is Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered.
It's episode 16.
What did I say, 26?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. 16, 26, all the same.
He can't count that high.
Okay, so we open up this episode with the night before Valentine's Day. We have Buffy and Xander patrolling the Westfield Cemetery, which is interesting. You don't often get the name of the cemetery. But there you go. Xander shows Buffy the heart-shaped locket that he's bought for Cordelia as a Valentine's Day gift. He wishes that Dayton was like slaying direct to the heart, no muss, no fuss, which is quite funny because then we have a vampire jump up the next second and he wusses out of it. Just then a vampire rises up from the ground, as I just said, which Buffy disposes of quickly before telling him that slaying is a little bit more dangerous than dating, which prompts Xander to remind her that she is not dating Cordelia, which I thought this whole cold open was such a great little easy,
breezy,
peasy,
beautiful,
wheezy,
cover girl,
cold open little setup punchline joke bit. I like that.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I love this cold open. We haven't said cold open in a while. It feels like it's been ages since we said cold open. I like that we're getting to see Buffy and Xander hanging out together, like kind of by themselves, because this is actually, well, they established this a little bit in the last episode when they went to the funeral home together to kill Teresa from PE. I did not like the way he said to Buffy,
Here, the only other person I'm interested in is, unavailable.
it's like hanging out with the person you fancy and then being like, yeah, I mean, I really like someone, but they don't like me back, so...
But it seemed like she knew what he was talking about. Like, she's like, yeah, you can't have me.
She clearly did, but...
I quite like that they didn't dick about with it. They were just like, yeah, you fancy me. What can we do about it? You'll get over it at some point.
I know. I just wish Xander would shut up and stop talking about it.
Same.
I also love the line that Buffy says when Xander shows her the heart necklace and she's like...
Does she know what one of these is?
Yeah, I like that one too. I thought it was funny. This is
good.
one of those episodes where it's a real... They just are adding dimensions to characters, I found. Like Cordelia gets it, like Xander gets a chance to show that he's not just an absolute creepy fuck, because he gets a chance to show that he's a good guy. And then Cordelia shows it, like, I don't know, I thought this is really good. I really like this episode. I'm gonna, the more I'm talking about it now, I'm realizing I'm really enjoyed it.
It's a really big growth episode, I think, for a lot of the characters, because obviously the episode comes out of the idea of toxic masculinity and Xander's entitlement to Cordelia's feelings and the idea of doing the spell and feeling like... But from that badness, I guess, we get good character development and growth at the end, which totally. I really love. And I love that we fight at the start as well. It was just like the right length.
No, I really liked all of it. I quite like that Xander likes Cordelia so much. And he's doing that thing where he pretends like he doesn't, but he, you know, I don't know. That was all really good. We cut to the credits and we get our wonderful... I've been listening to the credits actually. I've been letting them roll. They're really good. Which brings us to Valentine's Day. Cordelia finds herself ignored and rejected from her group of friends, mostly because she's dating Xander. Is this our first sort of inkling of Mean Girls-esque? 4 girls being real, like...
Well, I mean, Cordelia was always, when she was mean, she was always part of this group. So they've always kind of always been there. Because even back to season 1, these are like, well, Harmony specifically was one of the main Cordettes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I thought Cordelia led them.
Yeah, she did. But this is Harmony, like, stepping up, like, having a little coup.
Oh, because she's got to be nerd. See, you know all that, like, dynamics, because you are a little mean girl.
Because you are a mean girl. You're a bitch.
Meanwhile, in class, Xander catches Amy being a super witch.
Thank you, Amy.
Thanks, Amy. Thanks, Amy. After class ends, Xander tells Willow and Buffy what he saw. Considering witchcraft didn't turn out well for Amy's mum, Xander decides that he should talk to Amy and warn her about practicing witchcraft.
And I did notice that Buffy's wearing a lot of neck scarves. She was wearing one before the credits, and now she's wearing one after the credits. And I don't know if this is a callback to her still having that, the tattoo on the back
I'm
of her
going to
neck.
say no because I noticed her outfit in the first scene and she's wearing like a low brown top thing and you can see her neck and everything. So
And she had a neck scarf. She had a neck scarf on with that coat that she was wearing.
Wasn't
And in the brown outfit here, she's got a brown neck. She's got a little brown neck scarf on.
Tony, out of the two of us, who's going to notice the clothes more? You or me?
I think we need
Neck scarf.
here. And then
Neck scarves.
quickly showed up in the collections of 8 different designers. However, that
Neck scarf.
represents millions of dollars and countless jobs. And it's sort of comical how you think that you've made a choice that exempts you from the fashion industry when in fact you're wearing a
Neck scarf.
that was selected for you by the people in this room from a pile of
Neck scarves. We get to see Amy again, who debuted in The Witch in the 3rd episode of Buffy. Not The Witch, it's just called Witch.
Nice to get a little bit of a callback.
I like it. We see a bit of Willow's cuteness with Oz here when she's like, "Are you going to the bronze later?" She's like, "My boyfriend's in the band."
Yeah,
Which is
Willow
so
doesn't
cute.
have very much in this episode. She's very much just like
She got loads in this
reaction.
episode.
How dare you?
Not really like.
I think in terms of big story beats, it feels like it's a big thing for her to go through in this episode. Well, maybe you'll realize that when we get to there and I tell you what I think
Yeah, I
about
don't get that at all.
David, shut up.
Buffy says that Valentine's Day is just a cheap gimmick to sell cards and chocolate, and that prompts Amy to say,
Bad breakup, huh? Leave me when I say uh-huh.
and yes, you mentioned Amy doing her glamour on the teacher, handing in her homework. Why didn't she wait to be the last person in the class to do that?
Literally, my question I was going to ask you: why is she doing it while Xander's literally standing right behind her?
Because it
Anyway,
seems to take
but-
ages to do.
Thank you, Amy.
I know, and also like, I don't know, just well for plot reasons, I guess. I hate when people say that. Sorry.
When Xander tells Buffy about he thinks he saw Amy doing witchcraft, and then Willow's like, "Well, her mom's a witch," and Buffy's like, "An amateur psycho." But I just thought that was a great little line. It was like ADR'd in, I think, because it didn't sound like it belonged.
You know her mom's a witch. And an amateur psycho.
But this part, I do like that they're still driving forward the story with Jenny and Giles, and the awkwardness when they kind of bump into each other in the hall.
Yes, I forgot about Jenny. I forgot she was still there.
It's only been one episode.
Jenny tells Giles that she needs to speak to him personally. Giles hesitantly brushes her off and brings Buffy to the library. He warns Buffy that Angel has a long past of committing hideous and bloody acts of affection during Valentine's Day. Although he refuses to go into the details, he suggests she take a break from patrolling until things cool down. Oh, gets hot.
What I did think was funny that he was like, "You better stay off the streets and I'll patrol." I'm like, Giles, what are you gonna do?
I know, actually, I wonder, is there anything you could do? No, probably not.
Nothing. Last time he went
Um,
patrolling with Jenny, he got shot with an arrow in the bum.
In the bum?
Yeah. Well, it was his back, but it was right up his hoop.
So this is a thing that Angel, he likes to torture his victims on Valentine's Day.
Yeah. He does
I thought you
indeed.
were going to elaborate a little bit more on that, but you didn't. In the
Oh,
factory,
it's because we don't know. We don't know anything more. Well, Giles elaborates on it later, so I was just going to wait until we get there.
Slow down, baby.
in the factory hideout, Spike presents Drusilla with a pretty necklace for my Valentine.
A pretty necklace just for me.
She seems half-heartedly pleased until Angel gives her his gift, a warm, freshly torn-out heart. It was actually kind of gross, which he found in a quaint little shop girl. Spike angrily tells Angel to focus more on the Slayer, to which Drusilla tells him not to worry.
Angel always knows what speaks to a girl's heart.
I also love the idea that Angel is just running around town murdering people.
Yeah, and no one's doing anything about it.
He's camp as fuck when he's being Angelus.
I found it in a quaint little shop, girl.
He's got so much makeup on.
Yes.
He's got so much makeup on. That's the thing I noticed is like him and Drusilla have the exact same makeup. They did each other's makeups when they first woke up in the evening.
Yeah, and I think when he says like cute about Spike's necklace, he's like cute. He's like he's so camp or something. But
I know.
I quite like that. Spike does say a great line here when he's like, worry less about Drew and more about that Slayer you've been tramping around with. Spike does have a great wee line here where he says, well, just rip her lungs out. And Angel's like, it lacks poetry. And Spike's like, well, it doesn't have to. What rhymes with lungs?
Oh yeah, that's what he meant about lax poetry. I was like, why, what does rhyme with lungs?
Youngs.
Cool little campy scene with the vampires. Also makes me forget, but
Also not doing
oddly
anything.
forgot. Yeah, no, the lazy bastards. But I also forgot that Angel existed until later on he pops up from nowhere. But like, I thought it was good that they established that because I kind of forgot all about them. That night while Buffy and Joyce watch television, there's a knock on the Summers' door. Buffy goes to answer but finds no one there. Instead, Joyce finds a long black box at the back door meant for Buffy. That bit was so Joyce. I fully thought Joyce got kidnapped or something at that point. No, whenever she's like, "Mom, Mom," and she's just out the back. I'm like, "What the
That's a
fuck?"
note that I've got here actually because it really reminds me of Sarah Michelle Gellar's scene from Scream 2 because it was filmed during season 2 as well. So it's like she's got the same hair and it was a wee bit like it wasn't scary, but it was like properly
It was tense. No, it was definitely tense. Yeah, I because I didn't know what happened. I fully thought, "Oh fuck, here we go. Angel's got her."
I love Buffy's wee t-shirt with a duck on it that says hug me. That was cute.
She opens the black box only to find the contents of a dozen roses with the word soon, which I thought was Zune written on the card.
Zoom. It would have been funnier if she opened the black box and it was like a giant double ender.
No, that's your perfect Valentine's Day gift.
And I was like, soon. I'm like,
What about now? We we cut to the bronze and we have Oz and his band who's actually playing guitar, you can tell. And their
Yep.
name is great. Dingoes Ate My Baby. Is there a
Yes.
reason why I know this name?
Yes, it's from that famous Australian news story where the woman said that dingoes kidnapped and killed her baby. And it's good. We get to see Devin again, Oz's band mate. I love him. He's sexy.
Yes. Is he the singer?
Yeah.
Heard a bird, a girl,
Up and
yeah,
down. It's the
have those real
Nickelback.
like voices.
This is how you remind me of what I really am.
Yeah, so and I quite like this bit because you have like Willow just happily watching her boyfriend play, and the two of them are giving each other wee goo eyes, which is really sweet. Cordelia arrives, but her friends again rebuff her. Xander approaches a sad Cordelia, presenting her with a Valentine's Day gift, a heart necklace, and telling her that it may be just teenage hormones that's driving their relationship, or maybe more than that.
Maybe something in you sees something special inside me, and vice versa. I mean, I think I do see something.
Cordelia is at first impressed and joyful with the gift, but quickly tells Xander that she wants to break up because we don't fit. Xander, agitated, walks off, leaving Cordelia looking sorry and unhappy.
Yeah.
Wow, Charisma Carpenter is a very, very good actress.
Yep.
She played that bit so like her little face and stuff being like where you could tell she actually liked the thing that he got her. I just really like this whole. I really like their whole relationship.
Yeah.
It's just really sweet.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's, I guess, the point of the whole episode, but they're playing it so well because that's something I noticed was that Cordelia is very complex, but Charisma Carpenter also plays her so complexly that you can see the multiple things that she's feeling or something. It is like what you're saying. Like she's distracted and sad and impressed and nervous, like the whole thing. I mean, I do
Bit
think,
nervous is right. Yeah, nervous. She seems a bit like coy, a bit like
yeah,
abashed.
I did really like Xander's like sincere declaration of like his interest in her. So that was a very posh way of saying it. Sincere declaration of interest. When Xander's like, sorry, when Giles starts going with Cordelia.
She's a fucking child.
Why is Xander dressed like a vampire?
Huge. Nothing but collars.
Like a big vampire collar?
Huge collars.
Huge,
Nothing but
huge
collars for
collars.
days. Collars
do
for
like-
days.
I do like it when, like what Cordelia says, when she's like, who are we kidding? Like, we don't fit. together. But Xander's response when he's like,
Do you know what's a good day to break up with somebody? Any day besides Valentine's Day. I mean, what? Were you running low on dramatic irony?
I know. I didn't mean to do it this way.
Well, you did.
Yeah, that was all great, and he had every right to be pissed off. I quite like that.
yeah,
He has a reason to be a wee dick rather than his usual because he didn't get the girl. He's a dick. This is actual
Yes.
fundamental. You have a right to be pissed off here. That was fly as fuck in front of the whole school as well.
it was good too because it does give him a bit of an out for some of his like dicky behavior that he does in the next bit. But because he plays it so fun, it's quite comedic. I think.
Yeah.
We'll get to that point too. But
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
go
So
on.
then we cut to the next day. Xander finds himself in the school loser, having not only been dumped, but having it happen on Valentine's Day. I'd also love that they don't have to show us like the rumor of all that happening, getting around everybody. Do you know what I mean? It's not like you've
Yeah.
got, like that sort of thing. You just know that schools are incredibly good at getting a
Yep.
rumor around a school, so it's like instantly the next day. I also believe, like, you know yourself with like pre-formals and stuff. There was always some really dramatic moment at a pre-formal or like
Yeah.
at one of those nights out at school.
Like,
Well, what giving birth the next day after our pre-formal?
oh, I didn't remember that.
We went to the pre-formal in Tonic upstairs in Hunters and called Happy's now, and my dad gave us a lift home in his Vauxhall Nova, and the front seat didn't work and it slid back and forth, and
Oh
I
yeah, I
have loads of
remember
stuff.
that.
I have loads of stuff with this actually, and Dave gave us a lift home, and I remember. Anyway, the next day we found out that went into labour. And
Yeah.
then Dave was talking about how his car was magic because he didn't even know the wee girl was pregnant and all this stuff. It's quite funny. But I remember at the time, me and Melissa Gordon were convinced was pregnant, and that leading up to these nights, we were like trying to touch her tummy, like subtly, like bump into her, so we could feel if her tummy was hard because obviously Katrina had just given birth, so I knew what like a pregnancy felt like, but held her like whatever her wee baby was. I don't know, understand. Like you just couldn't tell that she was pregnant, and
Yeah.
but me and Melissa were so convinced. And I remember when she did give birth, we were like, "We fucking did!" Like, cause two gossipy wee bitches that we were.
Did you see Melissa posted a picture of Lola today? It's her 16th birthday.
No way. Spit of Melissa, is she?
Double over. Yeah,
Nah.
absolute double.
But she's really nice. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Lola's really nice because I was doing her mum's, like, did a wee gig for her mum's 60th or something, and Lola was there, and I was like, "What the hell? Your kids are so nice, Melissa. You were such a dick." She's
I
like,
was-
"No, I don't understand
Yeah.
why."
You remember when she poured a can of Coke over?
It wasn't a can of Coke. It would be better if it was a can of Coke. It was vanilla milkshake
Oh, that's
because
bad.
she smelled like milk for the rest of the day. I think she went
Oh
home.
my god. Like when I finally got a class with Melissa and we were in science together, it made me act out as well because I loved having a little mischievous partner in crime. Like I remember when we had Miss Malcolmson for science and we drew all over our science table, like we drew a big massive Winnie the Pooh, like Pooh from Winnie the Pooh, and all in like blue pen. And Miss Malcolmson was like, "Go get ethanol and clean that." And so we went to get the ethanol and then we poured it out and filled it up with water. And then when we were washing the desk, we're like, "Miss, this isn't working." And then the next day in science, she was like, "I was here till like 7:30 trying to clean that."
You're a fucking bad bastard. That's brilliant.
So funny.
That's brilliant. She was mad.
Those are the days.
So yeah, we're in the school the next day with Xander. Everyone's giggling and going that thing.
Oh, the
tries
guy
to-
that says to him, "Dude, way to get dumped."
I like that. And I also quite like that you see Buffy on her way to somewhere and not knowing where. And it was nice that she bumped into him. She was like, no, she's preoccupied. No, she just went, "Angel," and then walks off, I think, or like,
Yeah.
and which I quite like that. So she brushes Xander off. Xander then confronts Amy about his knowledge of her magic and then blackmails her. "That's right, Amy. It's called blackmail." He blackmails her to cast a love spell for him with the goal of making Cordelia want him so he can reject her in turn. I didn't realize, actually, I must have missed that. I didn't realize he wanted to reject her. I thought he just wanted her back, but obviously did want her back.
But I love that Cordelia literally looks like she's about to go ring the bell on Wall Street or something because she's got like her full on like business school outfit.
Yes, why is she dressed
on.
like a businesswoman?
It's just the
Just the
90s.
style.
This is
Just
the
the
90s.
90s.
when Xander pulls Amy aside and he's like, "You're a witch," and she's like, "No, I'm not. That was my mom. Remember?" And he's like, "No, I saw you do that spell. I'm gonna go tell someone." And she's like, "I just love her acting. I think she's like a quintessential American girl or something." But
She was very good. She's very believable.
I like the way
Like,
Xander brings up the blackmail thing because he says blackmail is such an ugly word, and she's like, "I didn't say blackmail." And he's like, "Yeah, but I'm about to blackmail you, so I thought I'd bring it up."
that was quite funny. That was funny. That was good.
I did love when he's like, "You and me, Amy, we're going to do a little spell." The way that the technical camera angle, because she's like behind him, but she like leans her head out to
Oh
like look,
yes.
because they're looking at Cordelia down the hall. When he pulls Amy into the classroom and she's explaining that love spells are very, very serious and intent has to be pure, and I think that's why it ends up going awry. But he says he only wants to do it to get revenge, pretty much, and that's when Amy says, "Well, I need a personal object."
Which is this little scene I really, really liked. When we go to Xander, going to Cordelia to get the necklace, because obviously that was something that she had. There was genuinely that little bit of hurt in her face. I just love that whole bit. And when she's opening the locker and she takes it out of her, like the fact she's wearing it,
Yeah.
I knew that was what they were going to do, and it was brilliant. And Xander's just being such a wee dick about it, and I just thought this is all brilliant.
But that's the thing too. I like that Xander's obviously so blinded by his hurt that he can't really see through the fact that like Cordelia doesn't overly want to be she's succumbing to the pressures of high school at the
Yeah.
moment, and it's not really because she doesn't like him, you know.
But I like that he doesn't know that. I like that he's just being a teenage boy and he's just being stupid as fuck.
Yes.
Panicking.
Yeah, because this does bring out a kind of not great side technically of Xander when you look at like the blackmail of Amy.
He really, really likes her and doesn't know how to admit that he really likes her. So he's trying to like, instead of just admitting to her that he really likes her, he's going around this whole convoluted way of saying he wants to get a love spell to get her rejected and all this stuff. I actually thought like, yes, his behavior is, as usual, not great. But I thought he was quite like, I thought it was like,
At least this time you can tell it's coming from a place of like hurt because he likes her.
yes, that's it. I think that's what it was. It wasn't malice. It wasn't jealousy. It was actual like heartbreak. And I think
Yeah.
you can forgive stupid behaviors for heartbreak because we're all stupid as fuck when we're heartbroken, especially when
Yeah.
we're rejected in front of the whole school after giving her a Valentine's Day gift. Shame
Aw.
on.
Were you ever rejected in front of the whole school? Only by me.
Yes, I have actually.
Who by?
Not by the whole school, but I remember when we were like 13 or something, me and we were like we kissing buddies, and then
At the city hall,
she
was
told
it?
me, yeah, at the city hall, and then she told me she wanted to break up with me because there was a wee fella in her estate and he was skinny. I remember that being the reason, that he was like basically better looking or skinnier or something. But like, we're all fucking kids, who cares? It's all good.
That's
But
true.
I remember I was so dramatic about it, and she was just, that's one of those moments where I'm like,
Kill me!
at this point, once we get the once they've had a couple of snipes at each other, they perform the spell, which actually looked quite good. I quite like the effects in this. It looked quite, all of a sudden there was like loads of effects. It's like, oh, the budget's up.
Yeah, I did quite like that. That was good. Sorry. Yeah, I did quite like that. That was good. I didn't mean to say it like that. But yeah, I like the effects. I like Xander sitting there like with his shirt off, and I thought
course you
you'd
do.
like, you know, who she's when I thought you'd be interested in
Diana?
the spells. Yeah. Diana, and
Yeah,
later
yeah.
it's Hecate, and I thought you'd like all that.
Although interestingly, they go from Greek, or they go from Roman to Greek. Is Hecate not Greek?
Yes, she's Greek.
So we cut to the next day. Xander coming in smug as all frick, confident, walking up, hoping that the spell's taking effect. He walks up to the table, like leaning on the table and all, looking at Cordelia. Cordelia remains the same, harsh, bitter. Meanwhile, Giles and Buffy are actually. I'm gonna, before I move on, that little scene where he's at the table,
Yes.
brilliant.
When she
Really
says
funny.
you can't be sniffing around for more jewelry to melt because all you ever give me was that small mart looking thing.
Thought that was great. Thought that was really good. And she's just like, And do we see inklings of the other girls defending him a little bit?
Not yet, no.
Not yet, okay. Meanwhile, Giles and Buffy are researching more on Angel's Valentine traits per her request when Xander enters. Giles then goes off to get more books, leaving them together. And this bit here made me go, what the fuck is going on? Surprisingly, Buffy starts to flirt with a thoroughly confused yet eager Xander. Amy arrives thereafter and asks to talk to Xander privately. She tells Xander that the spell didn't work, but soon starts to seduce Xander too, much in the same manner as Buffy did. Xander then realizes that the spell has gone awry, especially when one of the Cordettes appeared to be hitting on him. Very be careful what you wish for, Midas
Yes.
touch kind of vibes here. This is all just a big Greek tragedy.
When Giles is telling Buffy what Angel has done to people he used to go out with, and he's like, Angel nails a puppy and Buffy's like, skip it. I don't have a puppy. I don't need to know.
Yeah, I don't have a puppy. I love that. Skip it. I don't have a puppy. And it's like, this is a very, very funny episode. It was like really funny. I like proper laughed at bits. It's a proper comedy. But I also like the bit. There's a bit where Xander's out talking to Amy, and like there's a bit where she's like,
It's just,
eating her hair.
I've wrote that to talk about. I'm being Buffy. So that part, when Buffy suggests to Xander that they do something just them, and Xander makes that joke like,
Would lap dancing enter into that scenario at all? Because I find that very comforting.
Play your cards right.
how good is Sarah Michelle Gellar just like creating chemistry instantly?
The way she delivered that, she didn't do it like she was under a spell. She just
Yeah, it was so
fully
natural.
just turned it on, and it was like, it was so. I even think what's his face was like a wee bit taken back himself.
I know. I get a wee bit
Imagine
kind
her
of
doing
like,
that, and she just wouldn't cut eye contact. And I watched her the whole time, and he couldn't look into her eyes, which is obviously very good on his part. But it just was very good.
it was really, really well done. And the good thing is, obviously, I know obviously Sarah Michelle Gellar's range from being in like Cruel Intentions, so I know she's like capable of that slutty side. So I think I really like that she tapped into that.
Sultry. Let's say sultry.
Slutty.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I've got dyslexia. My God. And I do like that when Amy shows up then to say that the spell didn't work, and he realizes that it didn't because she says the exact same thing that Buffy said, like,
yes.
oh, you can see someone but never really see them or whatever. And he does look so deflated. It is kind of a sad moment when he realizes that Buffy doesn't actually like him, and that's when he looks through the little portcullis.
Put your wig on and do it.
I think like because that's why this episode I think is so good, because see all of the women's performances, they just all come off so they're not playing the comedy in it. It's almost like you can really see how it transforms from like playful lust to almost like psychopathy. And that's one of the things I love, like the idea of love versus obsession. I like that's one of the themes that I really like. It mirrors Angel's journey in a way.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot of mirror. There's a lot of mirror in Angel's journey in the male characters in a few of these episodes.
I think that's good writing when they have those, when the C plot mirrors like the A plot, but like diametrically opposed.
Oh, Dyke. By the way, when you sorry, I'm about to finish. I didn't mean to finish by saying Dyke. Whenever we were talking about dichotomy and you said that was used wrong, I looked it up and we used it right.
Oh wow, okay,
yeah,
but I stand corrected.
Just so you know. But yeah, see that girl that comes up to Xander, one of the Cordettes. Why does she look like she's plucked from a 1950s film?
Or it's Pleasantville. Like
yeah,
she
like
was on the set of Pleasantville and they had to pull her in to do a bit of acting.
That's literally the exact same thing. Like, or Pleasantville. But it is like she's so. I don't know. Did you notice the music in this as well? It was very like Danny Elfman kind of vibes.
Yeah.
I thought maybe we could study together tonight.
Do you mind? We were talking.
I really gotta go. Right now.
Like the do, like the little comic like undertone.
I think that's why, like, instead of them playing for the last, they play for the authenticity. Because when Willow's parts come up a little bit later on when she's hurt, like, it's so real. She's not playing like angry hurt, she's playing genuine like heartbreak, and it's like, and Buffy's playing genuinely sultry, and
like,
and
even later when she gets angry, like there's a genuine like scary anger.
Yeah, because she just we'll get there when we get there. But
yeah, we will. I love that part as well. This episode's so good.
Yeah, it is a really good
when
episode.
she punches Amy.
Yeah, I know that's going to be a favorite bit. When I seen that, I was like, Tony's going to be aroused by this bit.
I will.
This women being punched.
It's not my fault if I punch her.
You were saying about like psychopathy, like it goes from like funny to like horrific, but I think using that Elfman-esque music gives you a bit of like Edward Scissorhandsy.
That was it.
Do you know, like it gives you, because it's funny-ish.
It's its own character in the episode, and that is one of the best things about when we see films and we like film scores. Like obviously Christoph Beck has went on to do some incredible, amazing films. What you'll notice in season 2 is that the music does become way more of a character and really underpins moments where there's no dialogue, and that was why it was great, because then that could have played out completely different if there was different music underneath it.
100%. And by like, yeah, definitely.
And that kind of becomes the Xander theme, by the way, because there's, now that I'm thinking about it, there's an episode in season 3 that is very like this. Like, and people generally online now hate Xander episodes because they hate Xander, but I'm not having that experience really. But that's obviously because I'm a man or whatever. You know, people will say that we find Xander funny because we're guys and we're misogynistic.
People should trust that we are trying to be on the side of most people. We're quite lefty liberal. Everyone should have a vote. Everyone should do whatever they want, free Palestine. And I just think if you don't really think that that's what we're doing, that's okay. Just go listen to another podcast that you think might be more up your street. But right. So Xander ends up going home, only to find a half-dressed Willow.
She was kind of sexy.
100%, yeah. A half-dressed Willow under his sheets. Willow expresses a desire for them to sleep together, attempting to seduce Xander, and doing quite well, to be fair.
When she bites his ear. I love having
me laugh, because I was like,
I love having my ear bitten, or like when someone puts a tongue in my ear. Maybe that's TMI, but I love ear play. I don't know if ear plays.
Right, see if you don't cut the big dirty someone's tongue in someone's ear.
Have you never been like kissing someone and you're like all kissing around their neck or whatever, and then they like go to your ear and like bite your ear or put their tongue in your ear? It shouldn't be as hot and sexy as what it is, but all the out there will totally get what I'm talking about.
Where my people at? Where my people at?
I know I used to love when people give me a wet willy and I'd be like, ah. Just to annoy them.
It's so funny that you've ruined porn for so many people because you're so good at the stupid porn voice.
Oh, yeah? Oh, baby. Oh, you need mommy to kiss it better.
So what I have here to read out here is he stutters, mad warning not to do this, and Willow simply licks his ear in response. Licks his ear? She near fucking swallowed it. He could hear her heartbeat. His ear went so far down her gullet.
She licked his brain.
He craps himself, throws her out of the way, runs out, runs back to Sunnydale. Apparently the spell has worked on all women in Sunnydale except for Cordelia. Oh, isn't that lucky? Xander goes to the library and recounts everything to Jads, asking for help. Jad seems disbelieving at first until Jenny, who guest appearance of the day, Jenny Calendar coming in, is absolutely funny as fuck in this episode.
She is hilarious at this whole
proper
part.
Funny. It's like watching Drunk. It's like watching your woman in Bridesmaids coming out of the back down the airplane again, like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Or, like really bad flirting. She's doing it badly, which I kind of love that she's like.
But it starts so
stroking his
seriously, which I
arm.
love, because she's like, nice shirt, and then she doesn't move her hand and she's talking to Giles, and then she's like feeling his arms, like,
Have you been working out?
Giles sitting on the table here reading the book, sexy AF. Giles being raging at Xander in this part, so good. Giles has just had enough. Like, he is just done. And he's
Sick
like,
of this shit.
He's like, I cannot believe you're fool enough to do this. And Xander's like,
No, I'm twice the fool it takes to do something like this.
I love that. And when Giles pulls Jenny away, when she's like, no, she like reaches back for him. She's like, no.
Yeah, she's great. She does play for the laughs, but I'm glad someone does, because like it's funny. Yeah, because she was coming in to tell him to apologize about the whole deceit about Angel. Not she's trying to make up with Jads, which is what makes it even funnier. She's trying to rekindle this thing with Jads, but flirting with one of the pupils, which is brilliant.
And I think this is also a great way to break that ice that could potentially just go on and on and on, because when is Giles going to Giles is not going to betray Buffy by going to Jenny, I think, to talk to it. So this kind of forces him to deal with that issue. Are you drinking a wee rosé?
The funniest. No, it's just a wait. One thing that happens at the end of this scene, whenever Giles is leaving, he's like, barricade yourself into the room. And he pulls over a really big...
When he pushes that cabinet up to the door and then the doors open the other way. That's what I
But then Buffy standing there with such like a pure pose with this like what I'm assuming is only a black
trench coat.
Black trench coat on is like, it just really made me laugh so much because he just can't win. I kind of love whenever like the Midas, he's being essentially Midas. Okay, you want a Buffy, here you go, you have Buffy. But then also you do get a little bit of Giles warning him that like love potions are deadly.
Yeah.
And this is when it sort of starts to turn a little bit now as we get into this next scene.
Yep.
Buffy standing in her short leather trench coat, heels, continuing to try and seduce Xander. This is where Xander's good guy behavior comes into play finally. Although Xander, even though she's on top, is and with the leg up in this scene. I know you're going to go through loads of this stuff, so don't worry, I'm going to let you go back.
I
He
love
decides
that
not
leg.
to take advantage of her, and then suddenly Amy turns up, claiming that Xander loves her, gets into a fight with Buffy. And Xander can only helplessly watch. I'm going to stop there because I'm sure you have actually no. After which point, Amy then gets really pissed off of being punched and turns Buffy into a wee love rat.
Yep. I've got quite a lot. Well, not really. I've got some great stuff to talk about here. When Buffy first shows up in the doorway in her black trench coat and Xander's like, Buffy, give me a heart attack. And she's like,
I'm going to give you more than that.
Yeah, it was good.
It's so dirty. And then when he does like when he rejects her, and there's a real sincerity to it. It's like, I wish that I could, but I couldn't do this to you because I know that it's not real. And then when she gets angry, and it's a bit scary when Buffy gets angry because she's like,
You make me feel this way and then you reject me? What am I, a toy?
and she's like, I'll calm down when you explain yourself. And that's when Amy comes in and she's like, get away from him, he's mine. And Buffy turns to Xander. Buffy has so many great hair flips in this scene when she keeps like flipping back and forward.
I really wanted to, but she's always just off camera. She's always turning to camera.
Amy says, I know what his heart wants. And that's when Buffy's like,
I know what your face wants. What is this, you're two-timing me?
and then she punches Amy right in the face. And then she shouts at Xander, what is this? You're two-timing me? And this is where I think...
Two-timing as well? I didn't know that was a term that was used over there, two-timing.
Yeah, two-timers. And I just love this whole part because it's just like the comedy, but also the kind of scariness of Buffy using her.
This is the turn. This is where it starts moving into mayhem and deadliness, I think, which is good. And it does get a bit like frightening.
And this is when Amy does the spell to Hecate, and she turns Buffy.
Turns her into a
rat, because you said a love rat. Yeah, that's right. So do you know why Buffy spent the majority of this episode as a rat?
No.
Because she needed time off to film SNL. She was hosting SNL in New York, so she needed the time off.
Is that why she has such a tan? Go back to this episode and see how well tan she is, and it's like she's like really done up. I just noticed she had a really good tan.
We should actually watch and react to them for our Patreon sometime.
That'd be quite good. Yeah, that'd be a good one actually.
She does Christina Aguilera in Dirty as well. It's quite funny. Anyway,
I must have been just an absolute cream fest for you.
Yes, I creamed my knickers.
Xander and Giles try to capture Buffy, looking for the rat behind the bookcase and all that stuff. All shows up and punches Xander in the face for upset Willow. I love that. He's like, no idea why, but he just like, I'm going to punch her in the... I can't do the voice. It gives me Carmen voice. As she was on the phone with him crying all night, but Oz doesn't know the full story yet. But I love he's like, okay, I'm going to just punch him in the face. The distraction leads the Buffy rat to escape into the basement. Giles angrily tells Xander to go home before he does any more damage and asks Oz to help him look for Buffy Rat. I love how they've called it Buffy Rat.
Yeah, I love that he called her Buffy Rat. I thought that was quite funny. I do like again when Jenny comes in and she says to Amy, like, oh, Xander's too much of a man for the Pimple Squad, and that Amy starts doing a spell instantly again. She's like Hecate, and her eyes go black, and then when Xander puts his hand around her mouth, it's like, enough with the Hecate. I just thought that was
great too.
It was really, really good.
Funny. It was a good way to stop the spell.
And again, Giles, like we said earlier, Giles is just not having it. He's absolutely raging with Xander and like tells him to go to go home. I wondered if he asked Oz to help find Buffy because of his sense of smell is heightened because he's a werewolf. Yeah, but I also wasn't sure if it, like Oz did have a heightened sense of smell, because where do you begin to look for a rat in a school?
I
Other
know,
than the
I thought
canteen.
this too. He was the rat goes down into the basement. And he's like, Buffy.
He just
I'm like,
walks
how'd you know
down
the
right
rat was in
behind
the
it.
basement? Yeah.
That's why I presumed maybe his sense of smell helped him out.
Xander leaves regretfully, only to find Cordelia getting her bollocks knocked in by the Cordettes and all these other random people in the middle of the hallway as retribution
Yes.
for hurting the new object. Oh yeah, because they're pissed off that she dumped them now.
Yep.
Xander rescues her by picking her up off the ground. Which I'm like, she'd be getting your. If that was in real life, she'd be getting punched. You're literally handing her on a silver platter to be punched in the face more to them and like cover her up. I thought it was really funny, but it was
Yeah.
obviously he's being Mr. fucking rescuer. And as they walk outside, they're confronted by an army of Sunnydale ladies led by an axe-wielding, grief-stricken Willow. That is meme quality memes right there. If that was released to this day and age, that would be getting memed this week.
I love this part when they first turn on Cordelia at the locker, and Cordelia's like,
Okay, Harmony, if you need to borrow my Midol, just ask.
Midol is like a period pain relieving painkiller.
Right, okay. I was going to ask what Midol was.
I thought that was funny.
So outside we've got Willow standing there with the axe ready to start swinging axes, I guess. She starts throwing with the axe. Harmony and her friends soon catch up with him. The two groups fight, one looking to hurt Xander, the other one looking to protect him. The girls are distracted enough for Cordelia and Xander to escape to Buffy's house, much to Joy's delight. That's what it says here.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, as she is also in love with Xander.
I like that we don't instantly know that Joyce has been kind of affected.
Bewitched.
Yeah, bewitched, bothered, and bewildered. Do you know where that title comes from?
Yeah, the song? Bewitched,
Yeah,
bothered, and bewildered.
by Ella Fitzgerald. Joyce seems completely fine whenever they get to Buffy's house, and she seems normal, especially when she's like, "Oh, Cordelia, go get the bandages," and then that's when she offers Xander a drink, and she's like, "Do you want a hot drink or a cold drink?" I think it's more of a hot kind of night, and that's when she puts her hands on
Rubs
his
his shoulders.
shoulders.
Oh.
And then when Cordelia catches her, I think it's so funny because she's like, "What are you doing?"
Make me yak?
Cordelia, go back upstairs. This is between us.
Gross. I think not.
She's like, "Get your mom-age mitts off my boyfriend, former," and like throws her out of her own house.
I like that. I like that it was boyfriend and then former locks the door. Amy begins to see reason and aids Giles in the rescue. Meanwhile, Oz looks for Buffy Rat in the basement as it approaches a cat and a mouse trap.
I love it. It was funny. I loved it. The cat licking his lips was just so. I wonder how long it took them to get that cat licking its lips.
They always have that like cat that
Yeah.
always that quintessential cat noise.
Meow.
We come back to the kitchen. Joyce breaks in the window, starts looking for the door handle.
Xander, baby, let Joycie in.
Joycie. She calls herself
Yeah.
Joycie. I love that she gives herself a wee pet name.
So
The
funny.
two run up to Buffy's room and barricade themselves inside. And this bit caught me from nowhere. I forgot
Yeah.
all about this stupid, beautiful bastard. This made up bitch. Angel comes
Yeah.
up, pulls Xander out through Buffy's window.
More makeup than RuPaul.
Sashay away.
Oh my god, you knew something to do with gay people?
A sachet? Is that not a thing? Is that not a Uniqlo?
No, it's whenever you work at McDonald's and someone asks for tomato sauce and you're like sachet
Oh,
away.
right. Very good. Very good. That was good.
I know.
Wee bitch.
I love when you say
Um,
very good to my jokes as if I'm like a young boy screaming for his daddy's affection.
Angel grabs him by the throat, chucks him off the roof.
Yeah, Xander would have been
And
dead.
I'm like, I don't think he'd be dead, but he'd definitely
No.
be more than.
They have a sore back.
Yeah, he'd definitely have a sore back. And then Angel does his big wrestling jump down where he just lands. It's always a very specific type of jump that reminds me of like the Undertaker. Anyway, that's a bit.
I love The Undertaker. He used to be my favorite.
He's my favorite too.
I was thinking
Um,
about trying to get back into wrestling now that it's on Netflix.
You should watch that You should listen to that Wrestle Me podcast for the WrestleManias. It would get
Oh,
you
really?
into it because they give you little synopsis about the show, and it's really good. And it would give you
'Cause
ideas for our shows.
I do love the gayness of because
Campness.
it's the wrestling game like for that you can get Royal Rumble, and you can make your own characters that look like you and stuff. And a YouTube channel that I follow, they're really great, like these two drag queens in Olympia, and they have a bunch of their friends and stuff on the channel. So they make, you know how you make your own characters, and then the computer places them to play, so you don't know what's going to happen. So it would be like I could make characters for like me, you, Kira, Fiona, everyone, and then it plays out the
great.
match which is really
Oh,
really
right,
funny.
okay. Like
So they
Celebrity
were,
Deathmatch.
so then they were watching it like they were commentating as if they were the commentary, and it was just funny because they didn't know what was going to happen. It was really good.
It's actually a really good idea.
Yeah.
This is another bit where I did not see coming script plot wise. So Angel threatens to use Xander as the puppy dog, essentially, that he's going to staple up to whatever he was going to do with Xander.
Or you could fucking nail media wall.
I mean, that's nasty.
And Xander at the last minute gets saved, and he assumes, we all assume it's Buffy, but it's actually Drusilla, who's also, and I love that
If
she's
you touch one hair on this boy's head, you
She's turned into a
fucking
weird lady.
slag.
Yeah.
If you touch one hair.
But she's just like really shaking.
If you touch one hair on this boy's fucking head, you fucking slag.
Does she give him a wee kiss?
I think she goes
Like a wee small kiss with a big
yeah.
vampire makeup
She's
on.
very
I was
like she's very like sweet, and she says okay kitten, mummy's here.
I know it's
Okay, kitten.
she's very good in this bit.
If you harm one hair on this boy's head.
Love the fact that I like the fact that the thought went into the fact that Drusilla would also be under the spell.
Yeah.
I just really, this is great. I love that Angel's confused. Like he's genuinely like, what the fuck are you doing?
Especially when Drusilla is like, just because I finally found a real man.
Yeah. And she's threatened to sire him as well, I think.
Yeah, because she says your face is a poem. I can read it, and Xander's like, does it say spare me? And that's what she says. How do you feel about eternal life? And he's like, could we not just start with a coffee?
Yeah, that was funny. I like that. We're not start with the coffee line. But before she's able to, she puts his neck down. It's about to bite him. They're besieged by the mob of women and are separated. Willow's about to cut Xander's head off, essentially. She's got the axe over her head. Cordelia steps in to stop her. She and Xander are able to flee into the house and attempt to block the front door. Drusilla knocks the back. I like this. I was thinking about this when it was coming up. Drusilla knocks the back door off its hinges, allowing more women to enter. But Drusilla, when she goes to, is blocked by the spell or the fact that she hasn't been invited into Buffy's house yet.
Yeah.
Very good. All of this is like one of those episodes where it's like, have you been watching? Have you been paying attention until now? Like with loads of little callbacks to previous episodes and characters and stuff, which I thought was really clever and really fun. It was a really fun episode to watch.
Yeah, it really was.
Like,
and when Cordelia stops Willow with the axe, she totally like pushes her off to one side, but she goes flying. That was something I noticed. Like she goes flying really far. It's quite funny. I also love this kind of joke that Xander and Cordelia again find themselves hiding in Buffy's basement. The same way they got together when they had their first kiss, when they were hiding from Norman Pfister.
Oh yes, that's right. From Pfister Hardly Knew Her. Yeah, that's right. I forgot all about that. And
instead of loads of worms, it's loads of women, because women are absolute dirt, like worms. Only joking, you're special in God's creation, made from our ribs.
No, he
Don't
believes
forget
that
your
really,
place.
but it's okay. He's not really important. He's gay.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's not.
And you're a misogynistic pig!
Only joking. Joyce arrives with a knife to kill Xander to stop anyone else from having him, which I loved.
This is so funny. They turn around and she's standing with a big mad kitchen knife.
It's never gonna work for us, Xander.
Joyce is the killer in Scream 7.
It's never gonna work for us, Xander. We have to end it.
I love how Joyce is doing it like that Stepford Wives.
Yeah.
Come on, Xander, baby. Like that sort of like.
I just keep thinking of her hand like through the glass door trying to find the lock, being like, Xander, baby, let Joycie in.
Let Joycie in. Joycie was great. And I had the subtitles on, so they actually had Joycie. This was a really good bit when they do get blocked into the basement finally, and like Xander and they're doing that thing, which I really like as well, whenever they're sort of telling each other off, like, this is your fault, this is your fault. And he reveals to her that it's actually, he was just trying to get her back.
Would have worked fine, except your hide's so thick, not even magic can penetrate it.
You You mean this spell was for me?
And then that like defrosts her for a second, realizing that he
Yeah.
wasn't just trying to sleep with every girl in town, but it was actually a spell gone wrong, which I
Yeah.
thought was really touching. It was
'Cause
really sweet.
It also picks up from Cordelia's line earlier in the kitchen, which was so important. She's like, the only way you could get women to like you is by witchcraft.
Yeah,
And I
that's right.
just
That was
thought,
good.
but you see that moment in Cordelia where she's like, it's the confliction. Is that the right word? She's conflicted.
The conflict.
The conflict, yeah, that's it. The confliction, the conflict you see in her face when she realizes that Xander did this because he cares about her.
Yeah.
And it was really nice, and I loved it. I was going to ask you, did you pick up on all the little background things that people were saying? Because it was like not another teen movie. It was like, let me touch you, Xander, I need you. There was like they were
No, they
really funny.
didn't.
I'll put them in here, but I just thought, oh, when I was watching, I was like pissing myself laughing. Despite when one hand breaks through the window in the basement.
Let me touch you.
Yes, through the window with like
Yeah.
a wee pokey. That was very funny. They break through. The women break through the basement door. Just as
They
the
sure can.
dangerous mob advances towards them, we have this little thing where we go from the basement to Giles and Amy doing the spell.
Well, because there's two spells that they do here.
Yes, the wee Radigus needs to be turned, Buff Rat needs to be turned into just naked Buffy. I love how they went for the naked Buffy, the Buff Rat first, not the spell that's causing murderous women to go around trying to kill people. No, let's get this wee. Let's get
No,
the
it
wee
makes
rat
more
there.
it makes more sense to do that first.
Do you think so?
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
Just because you say it with conviction doesn't mean it's true. Yeah, it does.
it
Yeah,
does. It does.
it doesn't.
It does.
It doesn't.
It does.
It doesn't.
It does.
Yeah.
Meow.
So just as the dangerous mob advances towards him, Giles and Amy manage to reverse her spells. So I think it starts first with the rat spell gets reversed. Then we also get the other spell broken. The girls all just stop immediately trying to grab Xander, and they look startled and confused.
Mine! It's off me!
Cordelia quickly explains that they all had took part in an overzealous scavenger hunt. Meanwhile, down in the boiler room, Oz finds a very human Buffy, very much naked. He awkwardly asks her to stay while he gets them close.
I seem to be having a slight case of nudity here.
But you're not a rat. So call it an upside.
Whenever they all turn back to normal and some of the background actors, some of their lines, you hear someone go like, ew. Just like, what the hell? Where are we? I love that part when Cordelia's like, that was the best scavenger hunt.
And according to the next day, it's believed. People just accept, okay, that's what we were doing then. We're all hunting scavengers.
I like the idea that like Sunnydale is obviously one of these towns where it's like where people don't want to like out of embarrassment they don't want to explain the things they've done because
I'm down.
yeah, I'm in that too. It's a great way
Yeah.
to just like to just suspend your belief or whatever. But
Disbelief,
I
yeah.
I love that Buffy actually says like, you know, my mom actually, I think she's like too embarrassed to admit she hit on one of my friends. She's getting pretty good at like repressing, and then Buffy's like, I should probably start worrying about that.
I think she's just so wigged at hitting on one of my friends that she's repressing. She's getting pretty good at that. I should probably start worrying.
Yeah, I thought that was
I thought it
funny.
was good.
And the fact that she was explaining that her mom would remember showed to Xander that she remembered and
Yeah.
like compliments him for being a good friend and not taking advantage of the fact that he admitted to her earlier on in the episode that he still kind of fancied her, and he had an opportunity there to get his end away and he didn't. And I thought that was quite a nice little.
Get his end away is just such a rotten term.
I can't believe you're saying that. All I simply said was get your end away. The disgusting things you say in this podcast, and you say that's a rotten term.
But that does make Buffy bring up a really good point of like why Willow won't talk to Xander, which is great because it's worse for Willow because she loved Xander before the spell.
And she says like grovel. Like,
Yeah.
how am I going to win her over? It's like grovel. I kind of like
Says
that
that.
too.
How much groveling are we talking here?
Oh, a month at least.
Then we cut to Cordelia standing with the Cordettes, being her little snobby self. But this time, after Xander bumps into Harmony, And she's like, "Ugh, you look disgusting, you fucking disgusting pig," and he looks perfectly fine.
Well, she says something really horrible to him, which is like so classist and elite as well. When she's like, "Oh, it's nice to see your mum took time off working the drive-through so she could dress you."
Oh yeah, that was really dickish. But this is great because Cordelia steps up, tells her to fuck up basically, and leave her boyfriend alone, and she takes him by the arm and danders off. I thought that was so nice. Thought that was a real. You just really you like Cordelia's. It's just more depth to that character. She's not just this like airhead who doesn't see the real world. Like I thought it was brilliant. I just really liked this episode. It was nice that it had a happy-ish ending and everyone's in a nice place. I liked it.
Right as that happens as well, there's actually great, like a couple of great throwaway lines from Harmony as Xander's coming down the stairs, and it really does inform like who she is as a person and how much they're all chasing like popularity or whatever. Because Harmony's actually telling Cordelia like, "Oh, this guy invited me to the dance," and Cordelia's like, "Oh my god, that's huge," and she's like, "Yeah, there's just two other girls he has to ask first, and if they refuse," and that's when Xander like bumps into her. So
Yeah,
like
I heard her say that.
you can see that this is a group of girls that are just so obviously desperate to be popular, and that's when Cordelia does end up then telling her to shut up, and she gives that great wee speech where she's like, "You're a sheep."
Harmony, shut up. Do you know what you are, Harmony? You're a sheep. I'm not a sheep. You're a sheep.
Like all you ever do is what everyone else does just so you can say you did it first. And here I am scrambling for your approval when I'm way cooler than you are because I'm not a sheep. And she's like, "And I'll date whoever the hell I want, no matter how lame he is."
I like that. We dig.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
It's gonna be okay. Just keep walking.
Oh, God, what have I done?
It was cute them walking off together, and like when Cordelia's like, "Oh my god, what have I done?" And Xander's like, "It'll be okay, I promise." And he's like, Even when we're around them, if you want, we can fight a lot." And Cordelia's like, "You promise?" And Xander's like, "You can pretty much count on it."
I thought that was all really good.
It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this episode. It was a great mixture of showing how Buffy can do like comedy mixed with serious stuff. This to me is like a quintessential episode of showing what Buffy could be at dealing with like real life issues in a high school setting.
This would
Because
be the perfect episode to show someone like this is the show. Like you don't need to know what's going on. You don't need to know all the characters, but just watch it and like because it's so playful. But this feels like it's properly found its footing now with even the stylish shots it takes and stuff. It feels like
yeah,
you don't really go. Whereas season one, each episode would feel like a completely different TV show sometimes with the way because they hadn't quite figured out their
yeah,
joie de
they're-
vivre. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But
Joie
no,
de Vivre. That sounds like an Irish name. My auntie's Joie de Vivre. That's like this is a huge episode for Cordelia, which is just like such a growth episode as well. Like Cordelia in the end finally choosing Xander over her popularity is a huge turning point for her character and brings her into a lot of her own like autonomy as like a person, because now that she's not trying to please anyone else, it's like she breaks free from like those pressures of like the high school hierarchy. Sorry, that sounded really like I was giving a university lecture on like the themes of this episode.
it was just a really good answer, and then you had to become self-aware and ruin it. You didn't need to say
Oh
anything.
my
it was
god,
just
I'm
a
like
really
AI,
good
I'm
bit of
self-aware. Oh
thing.
my god. But this episode is like it's almost like a summary of the larger themes in season 2 anyway. That's why I love it. It's so self-contained because obviously I think what we've seen so far, the themes in season 2 are like love, power, and consequences. Like I said, the turning point for Cordelia, but also a big turning point for Xander now that he
Yeah.
is with someone that isn't ashamed to be with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's that episode.
And that's that episode, folks.
That's our shortest episode ever. But please make sure to tune in to next week's All Bronze No Brains, where we are going to be talking about one of the biggest impacting episodes on Buffy season 2.
You say this every week.
No, this is the big. No, it is.
You
I
say
say
this every week. You've said this. This is about the
And-
sixth time. This
and
is the
have
big
they
impact
not?
episode.
And have they not continually had been good impact? Yes, you even said so. Last time I said it was about when Buffy rid Angel and he went horrible on her.
Fair.
So it is. So yeah, make sure to tune in for that. I could have just finished the episode there, but you made me go on for way ages. So okay, but bye.